This is a story about how Mrs. GTE beat me at a steak cooking contest. I wanted to test out my beginner series to grilling on a charcoal grill, and I needed a volunteer. And Mrs. GTE was perfect. She's never cooked on a charcoal grill, she hardly cooks steak, and so we're gonna have her watch a couple of my videos, and then we're gonna see how her steak turns out compared to mine. To make things fair, I'm gonna give her the choice of any of my charcoal grills, any accessories, anything she wants. So what's it gonna be?
I'm gonna use the Weber kettle with the slow and sear.
I think that's a great choice, and to make things fair, I'm even gonna let her pick which grill I get to use. The Sportsman? Out of all of my grills, is this the one that I have to use? Well, I suppose fair is fair, and I can honestly tell you I have never cooked a steak on this grill, and I don't know how it's gonna work out. The Sportsman grill is made by Lodge, which is the same company that makes most cast iron pans in the United States, and it's made of cast iron and is complete with a sliding vent to adjust the flames, or at least, sort of. I figured the cast iron grates would leave good marks and give me some presentation points in my favor. I started with a half a chimney of charcoal and a chunk of hickory for flavor. As with most cooks, I set up a 2-zone fire. One was really hot for searing, and the other was a little bit cooler in case things got out of hand. I also used my charcoal tongs to get everything just right. Mrs. GT gave me a head start, and when I watched her fill the chimney, I knew I was in trouble. She was absolutely meticulous and made sure she got the exact right amount of charcoal for the sear. With my fire lit, I pulled out my secret weapon. Garlic butter is a great addition to steaks, and I made it by adding 3 tablespoons or 42 grams of butter and a few cloves of garlic that are thinly sliced. You want it to melt slowly so you don't end up with brown butter and a bitter, burnt garlic. A light simmer is all you need while you cook your steak. Mrs. GT got the leg up on the steaks and got the first pick, and if I had been paying attention, I would have seen the split in the spinalis and I would have trusted it instead. Both steaks were lightly seasoned with salt before cooking. With the grates preheated, I put my steak on the grill and gently pat it down to make sure that I had good contact in hopes of getting those good grill marks. Mrs. GTE had never used a charcoal chimney before and was a little bit nervous walking around with fire, but did a great job. She went with about 3/4 of a chimney of charcoal, which is about right for searing in the SNS. And I always encourage people to add the grill grates right before you cook the steak. If not, the grates will get hot enough to burn the meat instantly. Mrs. GTE used the sear both sides for a minute twice method, which has some pretty big advantages. I also noticed that she didn't set a timer and gave her some encouragement to go and get one. The difference between a seared and a burnt steak is only about 15 seconds with this method. Luckily, the first sear usually just dries out the surface and the real magic happens on the second sear, so there's a bit more wiggle room at the start. I used the single flip method in hopes of some crosshatch grill marks, and those hopes were quickly dashed. I got a really even sear, which is a plus for flavor instead of presentation, but you have to watch the steak carefully with this method because it's really easy to overdo it. In contrast, the double flip method Mrs. GTE used gives you a chance to peek, then see how things are coming along, and if you miss it, you can always go a little bit longer on the next flip. Once she seared both sides twice, she put the steak on the cool side of the grill and checked the temperature. It wasn't done, so she put the lid back on and let it warm up just a bit more. At this point, she had nothing left to do but wait and hope that she didn't overshoot those temps. That meant that she was checking the temperatures every minute or so, and a wireless or a probe thermometer would have helped a ton and avoided lifting the lid to check the meat or taking it off the heat just to put it back on when it hadn't reached medium rare. I checked my steak exactly once, and between filming 2 cooks and grilling my own, I blew past 125 degrees Fahrenheit and ended up in medium territory. My only hope was that the garlic butter would help me win, and luckily the garlic was just starting to turn golden. So I poured a bit of it on top of the steak while it was resting to give it some time to soak in. Then I added some fresh cracked black pepper. I took a quick snap for posterity, and boy was there a big difference, but let us know what you think down in the comments below while we move on to the taste test.
I really like that garlic butter, and I think it's cheating that I couldn't use it as well. But this is good.
So I'm pretty excited to taste Mrs. GTE's first steak on a charcoal grill. Ew, did you use turpentine in that or something? So I'm just kidding. That one's actually really good. She has a decent crust, and you know what? She beat me on the cook. She got the temperature of medium rare, nailed it, whereas I overshot it by quite a bit. I didn't expect the grill to get quite that hot. So why don't you come in and we're gonna taste them both together. So there's always room for improvement, but I'm excited that Mrs. GTE watched some of my videos and now knows how to make a perfect steak. I'm gonna let her do this way more often, and then I'll go inside in the air conditioning.